I don't know where I put it. Hey, everybody. Let's get a background here. Let's get some background. Let's see, where can I put this? Can I put this up here? All right, let's do effects. What are we doing here? Let's put this guy up. Everyone knows this guy. Hey. What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Let me see if I can disconnect that. Welcome. Where did I put my drink? Oh, okay, there's my tea. Hey, it's me from them farms. Hey, today's going to be a really great one, so stick around. Make sure to invite your friends and family. Grab your tea or beverage or your breakfast, whatever you're having. Probably lunch for a lot of you. Just grab it, pull up a chair, sofa. This is about to get interesting. It's about to have a good live, so come on in. If you're new to my channel, my name's EJ from them farms, and going to be talking about herbs and being more self-sustainable. Talk about all kinds of things. So if you have questions, I have herbalists come in here. Talk about herbs, spices, tinctures. And he should be joining me here shortly. Let me see if I can, I did see him on. Let me make sure. I didn't see him come in yet, but let me share this out. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Just tap the screen, share the live. Let me see if I can tap him in here. Let's see. I could do it this way too. There we go. All right, there he is. All right, I got him. Welcome in. 6 people in here. Just tap the screen. Let's get it to 1,000 likes. Shows your appreciation. I'm going to introduce Jay here in a bit. You guys know him as Gotti, or Herbalist Herb Gotti. Let's see, share the live. How's everyone? Can everyone hear me okay? Press 4 in the chat if you can hear me. Everything's coming in clear. It's looking okay. There's Jay.
There we go.
Hey, there he is. On. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
You guys hear me? Awesome.
Yes, you're coming in nice and clear.
There we go.
I'll have to tell everyone about it. This is Jay. Goes by Herbalist Herb Gotti. That's what his channel, and he has what's your other is it what's your other thing on here?
Herbal chemistry.
Herbal, yes. So I'm gonna just be showing like pictures. You're gonna do your thing and just kind of tell everyone why you're doing what you're doing and how you got into it. Just kind of tell people about yourself. This is all about you, brother. So I'll just post stuff here and there, share beautiful pictures of you. I don't know if you've seen my thing here, invite. You kind of look like Montel Williams there, and I'll put that picture up.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. So I invite everyone to come here. Thank you for all coming. You could just show your appreciation by tapping the screen and sharing it with other like-minded people. He's dropped some bombs here. He's going to drop some great information. So thank you all again for coming. And Jay, it's all yours, brother.
Awesome. Thank you for inviting me on. Like, I don't know what happened. I was on TikTok for a good long minute, and all of a sudden it was like, boom! I said, okay, everyone likes dandelions. All right, it is what it is. So I'll do a quick introduction, quick bio, my usual spiel. So my name is Jay. I am a clinical herbalist and a holistic health coach. And let's see, I got started initially, I started in pharmaceuticals. Before a long time ago, I was in pursuit of Western medicine. Initially, I was going in to work as a lab tech, and then I switched up once I got into pharmacy. That was a buttload of fun there. So I essentially started working in pharmaceuticals for a chemotherapy hospital out in Passaic, New Jersey. And I did that for about 11 years. And it probably around by the last 3 to 4 years of that career, I started kind of losing my flavor for Western medicine. You guys give me 1 second. I gotta check on the kid. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second, guys.
Sure, no problem. Hey, while you guys are at it, if you guys aren't following Jay, go check out his webpage. He's got all his information right there. He's got his number. If you guys need consultation or any information, go check out. I'm not saying go over there and buy and whatever, but all the herbalists that I bring on here, make sure you go check them out, see what they have. They drop a lot of free knowledge. They tell a lot about what they're doing and why they're doing it. So you can find out a lot of information about them. He's on every platform, and he'll share all that. He's going to be on Instagram, YouTube. So go follow him and support him on his other platforms as well. So this is what he loves doing, and that's why he's doing it. So it's important to keep these guys going. And watch this video. There's a video on his webpage. It's one of his YouTube videos. This video right here, and you'll see this. It'll play. Go watch that. If you do nothing else, go watch this video. You guys will love it. I guarantee it. You know, that's a pretty strong guarantee. But go watch his video there on his. You can click on his link in his bio. It'll show it, and it's about himself, and it's got everything. No, he's back. All right, Jay, it's all yours again, brother.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I got little man with me. So yeah, I got into pharmaceuticals, and towards the last few years of that, I started getting into the materials management aspect of it. So in that section, that's where you start getting into the buying and selling of, drugs. And, we would buy medications like piperacillin and tazobactam for like 14 cents out of Puerto Rico, turn around and flip it and sell it to the patients for like almost like $1,000, And then eventually you started to notice that, after being on something like pip/tazo for an extended period of time, the patients would end up getting like C. diff, and then you had to give them like 7 other medications to counteract the side effects from the C. diff, and then turn around and put them back on the pip/tazo. So it was this vicious cycle that was just making money. I mean, a lot of money for the hospitals. So I dropped my lab coat. I picked up a gun and a badge. I became a state law enforcement officer out here in New Jersey, which was correctional police. And I did that for about 16 years. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I started to get sick myself. Let's see. I was hypertensive, high cholesterol, diabetic. I had collapsed veins in my left leg. I was going to have surgery on both of my knees. Low testosterone. I was overweight. I had really bad digestion. I was short-tempered, but I thought that was part of being a cop. So, I really didn't pay too much attention. And I ended up going to my doctor, and now comes the medications. He wants to put me on the statin drugs. I had to take diabetic medication. I'm like, I don't want to take this stuff. I was really afraid of the statin drugs, because the statin drugs, I knew what they were going to do to my testosterone. And the testosterone was like already in the toilet, and it's not going to help your testosterone. Because remember, testosterone is 90% fat, 90% lipids, which means if you get rid of all your lipids, you're not going to have any testosterone, amongst other hormones. So I told my doctor, I said, look, give me 3 months. Let me try and Google my way to victory. So I went to Google. I'm tapping away on Google. And Google, I did everything that Google told me to do. It said, eat more chicken breast, leave the red meat alone, leave the dark meat alone, consume more vegetables, low-fat diet, all that stuff. Did it for about 3 months, went back to my doctor. Numbers were exactly the same. I'm like, sugar, honey, iced tea. So now comes the medications, the ones I didn't want to take. So I ended up running into an African herbalist out in Uniondale, New York. His name was Andre, and he's the one that got me started. He taught me how to pull herbs out of my backyard, used them in conjunction with herbs that he sold me, put me on a high spice raw foods diet, which I did for about 2 consecutive weeks. The first 4 days, I felt like hammered trash. I mean, I felt bad. Stuff was coming out of both ends. I was dizzy. I had a headache. I was sluggish. And then I remember waking up on that fifth day and I woke up and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, wow, Jay, I feel good. And all of a sudden it was like this brain fog that I didn't even know was there was like lifted. Colors looked brighter. Yellow was yellower. I hopped out of the bed. I had energy and I was spry. Everything was changing. So I think I've been chasing that same high ever since. And eventually, I started putting myself on cycles of detoxification, which I do seasonally. So I basically seasonally detox myself in some way, shape, or form. And I started looking at it the same way I look at a car. You got to get an oil change. So I give myself an oil change, especially if we drive hard, which anyone and everyone that lives in America drives hard. Um, so eventually which actually I'm detoxing right now. This is like my fourth day fasting. So you guys going to give me a little bit of grace. I'm a little, energy goes up and then it sometimes crashes. So needless to say, I put myself through several detoxification stages. And by the time I did about a year to a year and a half, I ended up going from running for like 3 miles to 15 miles. My testosterone went through the roof. I dropped 72 pounds. Energy was absolutely incredible. My cognitive function increased, and that's really was the game changer for me. And that's really what pushed me into getting into natural medicine. So I ended up finding a non-federally funded school that's here in the States. I think they have a hub over in Italy as well. I wanted to get information that, wasn't backed by any complexes here in the U.S. So I ended up finding a school that can kind of give you that information regardless. And it was an amazing journey. So still in school, actually, pursuing a doctorate in what's called a PMP or phytomedical practitioner. And essentially, we just study phytochemistry, biochemistry, and environmental toxicity. And we function more like herbal naturopaths, I guess, in a sense, with a heavy focus on phytochemistry. And it's been great. Like it's one heck of a journey. I started a small business and which is herbal chemistry. And about two and a half years ago, I actually resigned from state law enforcement so I can do this full time. So now I spend 2 days in my outdoor office, hugging trees and talking to plants, and then 2 days in my regular, quote unquote, regular office. And that's where I do my consultations, which I talk to clients all across the country and help them holistically find their path. Of course, we don't diagnose, prognosticate, and or treat anything. This is just stuff we read in the book. We don't know anything. We can only coach you holistically. But sometimes you may, due to lifestyle changes, the legal way of saying it, the lifestyle changes, you may have to go back to your physician and have things recalibrated. That's the best way to put it.
Well, hey, I'm prior law enforcement myself, so know the journey. A lot of stuff. I still do a lot of private security, special events and stuff like that. But yeah,
Oh,
and
nice.
so hey, that was a good introduction, and I've been sharing stuff, and you can um, comment on that. And everyone that I bring on here, every herbalist or every person that I bring, that's uh, gives you another alternative to what's the norm is our pharmaceutical drugs, our toxic petroleum stuff that they give us, and not all of it's.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying, like he said, we're not doctors. We're not trying to tell you, um, but we're giving you another alternative to maybe help you in whatever your life pursuit or something. If you're not happy, you have to make those changes. And like he said, and you talk to everyone that I've brought on here, it's a change that they decided they had to do for their own health reasons or benefits or whatever it was. But it all starts up here. If you can talk about it and not make any changes. And Jay, you're a perfect example, and you decided to not only help yourself, but man, you're doing good work. And, I mean, just on here, I mean, you've grown, like you said. All talking about dandelion, and you found out a lot of people want to hear about. They're looking for it. they're looking for an alternative. They're looking for this. I talked this on my Wednesday. You were there, and we were talking about it. People want to see this stuff um, because they're fed up, and they want to say, "Hey, maybe if I change one thing," and it's not you didn't do this overnight. Like you're detoxing right now. It's not something that I'm going to detox today. Whatever. It's a process. It took you a long time to get to the health that you're in. It's going to take you a while. So it's a process doing the different things. And kind of talk about that. Talk about why it's
Oh, yeah.
important. Why are you doing right now? You're
So,
detoxing. So is that why do we need to do that?
we live in the United States. This is the sickest country on the planet. And 60% of the medication, I think the last time I looked, roughly 60% of the medication that's created on this planet goes to the United States. We are the number one country. Absolute bottom line, we are the sickest. We have the highest numbers for everything. We're half of us are teetering on diabetes, and some of us are diabetic, and we're just going, we don't even care. So they don't even have really good numbers, and we have the absolute most. When we go to other countries, they're laughing at us because they're going, "Hey, you're from the United States. How many pills do you take?" And they're just looking at you. They're waiting to get an answer. Like, I bet you he takes 4 pills. And I've
Yeah.
had clients and colleagues, as a matter of fact. One of my teachers, she went to her doctor one day, and she's in her 60s, and she looks great. She's in fantastic shape, and her doctor's like, "You should be on medication." And she's looking at him like, "Why should I be on medication? Why? I'm supposed to be sick at a certain age? No. I don't know where you got your education from." But this is what's taught, that we're supposed to be sick. And I think that's, in my opinion, it's by design. We want to take into consideration that medicine and healing takes on the same aspects that the universe takes on. And when it comes to Western medicine is defined as being very masculine in nature. Western medicine is, and I wish that wasn't the right term, because really we should be redefining masculinity. But if we're going to refer to something as being masculine, it's this version that we have today, which is isolating a compound specifically out of one particular item, and then mixing it with metal and petroleum and all sorts of other things so that it can work inside the human body. Whereas most of the plants that we're using and the plants that it came from has the constituents to help the human body actually put its own checks and balances in. So, for example, when you use something like, I think back in the day when the pharmacy, I think it's still popular now, Tamiflu, which if you use Tamiflu, that stuff's knocking your influenza out if you catch it in time. That stuff is great, right? Well, it uses a compound called shikimic acid, and shikimic acid comes from what? Pine trees. So what's the difference between the shikimic acid and the shikimic acid in the pine tree? Well, the shikimic acid that you're going to find in your pill is actually going to be needed to be dosed appropriately. So it's a control mechanism. And that control, again, falls into that masculine energy. Isolating compound, laser focus, take control, don't give any more or any less than I want them to give. Whereas the feminine aspect, the holistic approach, asks all the questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's the part that's missing in the humanity of healing and taking people on that healing journey, for us to go on our own healing journeys. Because that nurturing aspect is missing. That is probably the most important part. One of the examples I like to give is how if a person is, if you hear a dog that's barking and the dog's barking, man, we might come along and see the dog barking, stick a muzzle on it, game is over, we finished it, we fixed the job. A lady might come along and ask questions, say, well, why is the dog barking? And then you get another question, well, somebody's stepping on its tail. Well, why are you stepping on its tail? Well, I'm trying to stop the dog from reaching this bone that's on the ground, so I'm holding it back, and now it's barking. And this is the path that we want to take when we start asking questions about the diagnoses and dis-ease that we get from our physicians, because nothing ever expresses itself in the human body without having an actual reason or purpose or root cause. What we see on the surface is all we see on the surface. Even when it comes to things as severe as cancer. Cancer is, in a sense, a way that the human body is trying to preserve itself, because something's coming in and it needs a cell that can hold that trash or convert it or at least store it and try to consume it in a way. So the body is trying to do the best that it can with everything that we're working with, and again, living in this country, it's rough. You breathe in trash. You can't even put on a pair of jeans. If you ever wash brand new blue jeans and throw them in the wash, you see that blue dye come out. Look up and see what's in that blue dye. That stuff, and when you put it on, it's sitting right on top of your lymphatic system. And you're absorbing that right into the skin. Your skin is a kidney. It is absorbing just as much as any other filter in the body. So we want to make sure we're mindful of all the things we're exposed to. And every aspect of our lives is exposed to some toxin to some degree, sadly. Um, our lotions, our deodorants. I haven't used deodorant in 4 or 5 years. I stopped using deodorant because deodorant had way too many toxins in it. It was interfering with how my cognitive function was working. And then, of course, there's so many studies of things like aluminum, zirconium hydroxide, and aluminum chlorohydrate being linked to Alzheimer's and dementia, how it interferes with your hormones, especially in women, because aluminum functions just like estrogen. So your body gets confused because it doesn't know whether or not it's real estrogen or fake estrogen, which is going to ruin your testosterone and every other hormone, your progesterone. So now you have this false reading that's occurring inside the body. So, suffice it to say, detoxification is probably one of the most important factors that I do for myself, and I help my clients with understanding and realizing that this is part of the cycle. Because of where we live, we want to make sure we're taking the time to take a break, give our bodies a break, give digestion a break. You can't cook with that oven 365 days a year. Every now and again, you got to open it up and put some oven off on there, scrape that stuff off, clean that oven. Your gut works the exact same way, so it's really important that we detox. That's probably the biggest factor. Anytime I take on
Really
clients,
important.
yeah,
And I had Alma on here. She talks about gut health, but that's a lot of people were taught to, I've done videos like this, and you just spoke about it a little bit ago. We're told to, a lot, just, and it depends on your own doctor or who you're seeing, but the medical profession itself, or the industry, or healthcare, um, they're more interested in just getting you in there and giving you something, and then they say, hey, as long as you take this, you'll be fine. They don't say, hey, you might want to change your diet or something like that. They always say, hey, take a multivitamin and just keep doing what you're doing. You're okay. If anything changes, you just take this pill or whatever. And they don't say, hey, if you would have done this or done this, you see a lot more of that, in my opinion. But um, like I
I
said,
agree.
if you
They,
you
they,
just
they
want
have a
to,
license to practice. They have a
well,
license to practice. Yeah.
and that's what they just want to say. They like I have videos where I went in there and I says, hey, I decided to do this, and they're like, well, that's okay, but not saying, hey, good job, hey, if that's working for you, great, just continue doing that, and I'll monitor you. If you start whatever, we'll put you back on the medication and maybe adjust it or whatever. But they're just like, just don't do that. Do this, and if you whatever they and I says, hey, I have to change my health or the way I'm eating. No, I know people, and they'd say this to me. I know people that's just eating Cheetos and McDonald's, and fine, as long as they take the medication, they're okay. You don't have to change your health or change
Wow.
your eating habits or anything like that. Well, I've been eating
Yeah.
clean, as well. That's okay. That's good, but like I said, just you'll be fine just taking the medication. I'm like, what?
Yeah, the system's broken, and I don't put the blame on the physicians all the way. So I have a few colleagues that are physicians, and
Right,
they behind the scenes they're like, yeah, the system's broken. Like I got 50, this is them complaining. I got 15 minutes to see the patient, maybe 20. Look at the blood work, spit out a pill. Next, this is an assembly line because they got to see 35 patients, 40 patients within a day to maintain their tier. Like it's the system's designed so that their hands are tied. They can't take that time that's required in really diving in on where a person's imbalances are. Like when I do an intake in my office, it's like 30 pages of questions. And then after the 30 pages of questions, I got to go through those questions and I'm going to ask you a bunch of more additional questions on top of that. Probably give you 2 more sheets to fill out if I feel like I need to focus in on something specific like metal toxicity, parasite activity. Maybe I need HTMA testing or whatever that looks like. And then it takes about a couple of weeks to figure out what's the best plan of action because everything isn't for everybody. And what they've
right.
been doing is pushing this cookie cutter system so that everyone can kind of either fit into a specific block, and we end up going from one extreme to another extreme. And
Yep.
each time we go to another extreme, they're already there. Like it's like a chess game. It's like making you move your bishop to another corner. They've already positioned that corner. So, for example, and no stab to my vegans, but they started messing up the plants a long time ago. And if BG, B Gatesy, you know what I'm saying? If he's in full support of a plant-based lifestyle, that's gonna make me scratch my head and look twice before I make my move there. So there's a lot of strategy that's involved in this system that is running our foods and drugs. It's pretty dark. And as long as if we take the personality of a narcissist and apply it to the systems that are in control of our system, specifically Western medicine, then we'll then understand the beast that we're working against. Because every aspect, it will always function to that capacity. And really, when you think about it, even government kind of functions to that capacity. If you think about what a narcissist does and how it gaslights and it does all these horrible things, it's the same thing that's functioning in every aspect of society. And the same thing applies when it goes to Western medicine as well. What Western medicine should be doing, what I would like to see it do in the future, is that Western medicine it's supposed to be a masculine energy, but it's supposed to be a masculine energy that is nurturing and validating and verifying of what? Its feminine counterpart. And that's going to be holistic medicine, the who, what, when, where, why, and how. And science, real science, always validates and verifies the feminine energy or the holistic or the intuition. I like to use the moon as an example, everybody knows, like, when you have a full moon, everybody goes crazy, right? Everyone's losing it. They're driving fast. You're hungry. You got savage instincts. You have desires. Everything starts to go crazy, right? We don't know why. We just know that when a full moon is out, the hospital's going to get loaded up. Everything's bananas. But then science tells us that depending upon what phase of the moon, there's going to be a different type of gravitational pull, and it's going to have a direct effect on what? Water. Because we're going to see the tide going 1,000 feet into the air, right? The tide just acts absolutely bananas. But then we don't think that there's a connection there, okay? And the connection is what happens to our tiny little brain when that gravitational pull hits it. A brain that's 80% water, specifically the amygdala, which is your reptilian mind. And the reptilian mind is what controls what? Food, hunger, lust, sexual desires, fight or fight. All that savage instinct is right here, which is connected to what? That's connected to the spinal column. That's where the vagus nerve is going to go all the way down to your gastrointestinal system, and it's going to increase something called your IgA, which is your gastric acids. During that full moon cycle, gastric acids go up, which means that's the best time to try to consume animal protein, if you're going to consume animal protein. This is why our ancestors used to make sacrifices during the full moon. They would, have a cow or whatever that animal was. They would love it, feed it well, and then when that full moon cycle comes, all right, it's time to go, and they would do it in a way that's peaceful. And then that is when they would consume that animal protein. It was never on a daily basis like it is here in America, where we're eating animal protein, chicken 3 times a day, 7 days a week, like it's okay, and it's not okay. Small amounts in very, very limited quantities during the right time, if it's for that specific person, because not everyone's built for consuming animal protein. Some people can go without it, and then others actually require it. Because I get 40% of my clients are vegans, and it's because they've been on an overly alkalizing diet for too long. And then because what they did to all of the nuts and the seeds and the beans and the chickpeas, they're not the same. Almonds is one of the number one go-tos for protein, but it's also number one for receiving the highest amounts of glyphosate in the country. So we have to be very strategic in building up this diverse microbiome to support the war zone that we are trying to exist in, which is, this place of everything's being toxic. And just going back to the moon, that was really one of the reasons why our ancestors would perform their sacrifices and consume that animal protein during those full moon cycles. So it's about following what's going on the outside of our bodies and then understanding what's happening on the inside of our bodies. And once we put that balance together, The science of understanding the moon supports the intuition that is telling us something's happening. And that's what science should be doing when holistic health practitioners are going through a person's profile and realizing that, stress is playing a huge factor in how this person is being able to manage things like their blood sugar or their sleep or what have you. And what Western medicine does is don't listen to those quacks. They don't know anything. And you know what? I'm cool with it. I like saying I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I'm good. But the reality is that the two need to come together. And when the two come together, that's when everything is going to start working out for people. Whenever that happens to, hopefully we get to see the tail end of it. We're in a war zone. We're in the front line. So maybe we'll get to see a little bit of it before we check out. But the system does need to take into account the feminine energy or the holistic aspect of medicine, because that's where the nurturing is. Nurturing is on the holistic side. It's never in the Western medical side. That's the structure, the discipline, and the isolation is in that area.
I have two questions for you that popped
Yeah.
up. One, they actually want to know what this bottle is right here, and the second one was, what can we do? What's good for your immune system to boost your immune system?
Okay, so
Your
that
opinion.
bottle there is my anti-parasitical formula. So I'm big on parasites. I had a very nice video recently. Somebody was commenting on parasites. I just wanted to make some clarifications. I take my newfound TikTok tribe very seriously, and I want to make sure that they hear and can get my expressed opinion on things. So that particular blend is an antiparasitical, and parasites. I believe that, in my opinion, everyone has them. It's just a matter of how many, what type, and how long they've been there. In most Caribbean cultures, we parasite cleanse every 1 to 2 times per year. Okay, and that's because you're going to be in contact with animals. If you're in contact with pets, if you're consuming fish, if you eat sushi, you have parasites. It's not even a question. And what's happening now is that we don't realize that a lot of the testing that is supposed to go on for certain types of foods that we consume doesn't happen here in the US. We have the most lackadaisy system that controls a lot of the testing for things like mold and bacteria, and all that stuff is very lax here, which means you don't have to consume meat in order to come into contact with parasites. Okay, especially certain types of bacteria and fungus, and you're going to find more salmonella on lettuce than you're ever going to find it in meat. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are managing the microbiome, because your microbiome is everything. Everything that your body can express, can protect itself, is going to happen there, including your immune system. 70% of your lymphatic system is sitting in your stomach. It's 10% under your arm, or 20% under your arms. You're going to have another 20 in between the thighs. You're going to have some wrapped around the CNS area. But the majority of your lymph is in the gut. So making sure that your microbiome is working well and that you're attacking and maintaining the balance of parasite activity is going to be key. I generally do at least one parasite cleanse a year, but sometimes I do two. Okay. And the reason why, and what's happening nowadays, especially in the US, is that the parasites are mutating. We can't expect to eat mutated fake food and not have mutated types of parasites. They're not going to be the same like they were 50, 60 years ago. These things are mutating. They're having different types of relationships with a different microbiome. So they're maintaining these associations and friendships with things like Helicobacter, things like all the different types of algae that are showing up in some of our foods. And they're creating this new relationship so that they're able to make this, what they call biofilm. Okay, and what biofilm is basically they take the dead bodies of the good bacteria and they mix it with other compounds from their feces and urine and what they call non-specific amino acid chains. And then they put it together and they coat themselves to protect themselves against what we used to use, the old-fashioned black walnut, wormwood, maybe I'll take some garlic. It doesn't work the same anymore because they've evolved, they've mutated. Okay, just like you can take antibiotics and everything starts to get resistant. Well, same thing happens in the gut. So what's ended up happening is every year I change my formula. That's probably why I barely am able to market my antiparasitical, because I change the formula every year. And I'm making different ways of trying to make it where it can actually break through that biofilm. And then I walk the client through a process to allow their bodies to be open for that, not only for the biofilm to be broken up, but also to make sure that all the faculties for them to excrete it is open. Because you need to sweat it out, you got to piss it out, you got to poop it out. There's all these toxins that are building up in the lymphatic system and in the colon and in the small intestines. You want to make sure that all the exit ways are open. So that's one of the products that I use during my parasite cleanse and detox. And
What do you got in? What do you got in there, Jay? What is people are asking? What's
Oh yeah, let me take a look. That one is So most of the ones that everyone's most familiar with, those are things like pumpkin seed. You know, everyone knows pumpkin seed. Everyone knows your black walnut, your wormwood, your clove. These are all great. Put them all together though, okay? But I found that utilizing two additional compounds that I like to add, and three actually. I like to add sometimes Epizodi, which has been my new fave, witch hazel, which surprisingly most people don't realize that witch hazel functions as a powerful astringent. So what it's going to do is an astringent, it's going to tighten the colon. So when these parasites are trying to lay into the lining of your colon like a fluke fish, because that's why when you get a colonoscopy, they look in there after they cleaned it, they go, oh, your colon looks great, because you just watched the worm, okay? They're only 2 to 3 cells thick. They're not that big. They can sit there and lay against your, like a fluke fish. They don't have to move. And they'll do the exam, they'll see nothing, and then you're back to eating normal. And before you know it, they just hold on to whatever pieces of gook you want to give them, and then they start building their new home again so that they can maintain draining your whatever fuel source that they're looking for. Usually, like, they love your B12, which is why you don't always want to take too much B12 because they like to eat it. The witch hazel is one of the big ones. I've also found that using in addition to, but sometimes not on top of the antiparasitical, is that there are some compounds found in thyme that is very effective at breaking up the biofilm. Thyme is probably one of another favorite herb. Like, I'm probably going to do a video on thyme as well, just because it's one of my favorites. I'll talk a little bit about it here, but I'm definitely going to want to do a video on it. I think thyme is just, it's an all-time great herb, and you definitely want to make sure it's in your arsenal. So we do those every year, parasite cleanses. I do them in a large group. So the whole community detoxes, and I'm detoxing with you, so I'm miserable. Everything's coming out. I'm sitting on the toilet like this, and I'm looking at what's coming out. And sometimes I got a YouTube that has some pictures on it and videos, and I actually name some of the parasites that I see in there, so you can kind of have an idea what to look for. We're not really taught what they look like until you know what they look like, and then you look at your poop and you go, oh, I had poop that looked like that. Okay, and in a lot of cases, they don't even they don't really resemble parasites. You might see some white splotches or some weird stuff coming out, or it might just be some film. They may come out in pieces, or in general, you may have to actually go digging for it. No comment. But sometimes they'll sink right to the bottom, and you'll never know. So, but they'll always have some other accompanying symptom, like a certain smell to them. They'll smell kind of medicinally. You'll also have symptoms where sometimes they can come out of the skin. I've had some clients complain about them coming out of the eyes, coming out of the buccal cavities of their mouth. Had some who were more so infested with the microbes, which is interesting because the microbes are actually, they're the ones that are called into the body to scavenge metal. So just doing a routine parasite cleanse isn't something that where you would just buy a product and then just use it. You want to try to understand why you need a parasite cleanse and what is going on in my body that is making these parasites so prolific. Okay. And one of the reasons, of course, is the food, the diet does plays a huge part. And then another one is that sometimes, remember we talked about toxic metals, parasites, the microbes, their job is to scavenge metal. Okay, so they're looking for metal in the body. So that means your body is looking for help, which is how they get called into being. The same way candida or yeast can get called as a recycler of proteins or dead tissue. The lymphatic system's primary function is to recycle dead tissue, and if it can't do its job because it's busy fighting infection, then it's going to call for yeast, and here comes the yeast to do the job, but they don't do a really good job doing it. So if toxic metals are in the body, then we want to make sure we address those as well. So this way, the parasites aren't being called into play constantly. So currently, we did our parasite cleanse earlier in the year, around February, I think. And now we're doing what we call spring cleaning and chelation. So all the compounds are now focused on chelating the body and stripping out toxic metals. So we're targeting specifically thimerosal, aluminum, mercury, lead, all the toxic metals, and we're using compounds as well as fasting in order to make sure we strip out the metals. So this way the parasites don't have a reason to come back. Yeah, and you know what? So I saw somebody in the chat say zeolite. Yes, we are using zeolite as well. Zeolite's fantastic.
Someone mentioned, and this all has to do, like you were saying, and they were talking about energy. But a lot of times, if you have a lot of this stuff in you, right? You just explain in your own. But you can be sluggish if you're not getting those parasites out of you after they're dead. You're going to feel sluggish and have lack of energy and stuff like that. So you'll notice probably a difference in your body after doing something like a parasite cleanse or doing what you're doing with the fasting or whatever. It's your body goes through that change, right?
Absolutely. Well, when you're doing a good parasite cleanse, should be putting candida in stasis, because candida and parasites are they're like this country and another country that we've been hearing about in in the news and stuff. So they're like two cohorts together, in bed for forever, and they work together. They tag team. And they use something called REM signaling mechanisms in order to keep track of like neurotransmitters in the brain. So essentially, once the candida gets into the buccal cavities, they attach themselves to the receptors. 90,000 receptors, and each one of those receptors are going to the brain. So this is how they're able to attach the release of dopamine whenever you consume a food that they want to consume. So when you see a person having this addiction to donuts, they're like, oh, these donuts are so good. Or, oh my gosh, I got to have meat all the time. It's because there's dopamine attached to it. And it's the parasites and the yeast and the bacteria, they're the ones that are driving us to eating. So a lot of times we think it's discipline, and it has less to do with discipline and more to do with what chemical reactions are occurring inside the body.
That's interesting. Someone asked about they were asking about colloidal silver.
I use colloidal silver. Yes, I like colloidal silver. It's excellent. I think every plant, every herb, every compound are things that should be rotated in and out. Colloidal silver is, and copper the same. They're very, very effective at helping to rebalance bad bacteria. But also keep in mind that if you use too much of it and you don't have enough of the good bacteria, you do want to take a break, and you want to make sure you put in some good bacteria, because colloidal silver, because of that electrical charge, it's also good for viruses as well.
Yes, exactly. And I want to give this a little time. Thank you all for being in here and coming out and listening to Jay. It means a lot to me. But like I said, I try to get you people in here that are trying to help you and share knowledge. So that's what it's about. He's not in here running some classes, charging $200 or $1,000. Not that he can't do that on his own, but he's coming and giving his time for you guys. This is why I actually do this, because this is something you guys wanted, and we appreciate the likes and gifts. We do. We're very humble people, but we want more people to understand this. You don't have to understand it in big thing, as much as Jay has looked into it and myself. But if you don't understand, at least you're coming here to get the knowledge and sharing it with other people, and you're listening. You have an open mind, and you're saying, hey, maybe there's something out there. So on that note, Jay, I want you to talk about how can they get some of these or whatever. You have your own product line that I shared earlier. You have your website. They can click on the link and go there. You're on every platform, I believe. And I told them to go watch that YouTube video. That's really, if nothing else, watch that YouTube video uh, that you have on your website there. But this is stuff because there's his logo. So go check this out. Talk about why you made these products.
So I'm finally making a very stable line of products because again I kept changing everything like every couple of months. It's like, oh, there's a new plant, I gotta add something different. I'm gonna change my formula. I have like 450 formulas like stuck in my head. I don't even know how they're stored there. But you can go to the website. I do have a small amount of products that you can purchase for, just basic detoxification bitters. We do have a lot of tinctures. Okay, so we do like to use a lot of alcohol extracts, glycerin extracts, and then we also have nutrient blend moss. So, as a lot of people are familiar with sea moss, there's a lot of information about sea moss, and I won't get into it, but it doesn't they all don't have 92 trace elements and minerals. You actually need to have a certain combination of sea mosses or ocean plants in order to reach the 92 trace elements and minerals. But our ancestor, Dr. Sabi, he was giving us information that was easier for us to digest. And sometimes I think some of us may have taken it, and just went a little too far with it. But the studies actually show a little different. So what I did was I made something called nutrient blend moss on my website. And you can I like to use sea moss as a carrier. So we take extracts of other plants, and then we give you a choice of either 6 to 9 different additions that you can add to your nutrient blend moss, so that when you prepare your moss under heat, you're actually releasing the phytochemicals into the sea moss gel, and now you're taking your sea moss from sea moss to sea moss plus. So instead of it being sea moss, you may have sea moss with not just Crondus crispus, but it has dulse and it has bladderwrack, and it may also have like schizandra or ashwagandha or any of the other number of primary, secondary, and tertiary herbs that can be added in whichever combination that client actually needs. And then, of course, the parasite tincture, which everyone loves, that one is good. I always suggest, though, that if you are going to do a parasite cleanse, you want to make sure that you are using some type of supplementation, because you have to take in additional supplementation when you're doing any type of detox, especially B complexes. And everyone's low on B complexes, even me. I got to take B complexes too. You want to also make sure that you're using some type of fiber-based compound. On my website, we have something called intestinal scrub. It's a lot of fiber and a very little small pill. And that's one of the ways that can help to add some bulk into the gut's microbiome. And then lastly, you want to make sure you're using some form of bitters. Okay, the basics obviously is like your burdock, your dandelion, your milk thistle. Those are also on our website as well, because you want to support the organ systems as they're working. They're normally working, 9 to 5, and then all of a sudden you want to do a parasite cleanse, and now they got to work from like 9 to 9. So they're going to need a little bit extra support, making sure that the kidneys is getting rid of all that trash, because you don't want, yeast or parasites releasing ammonia-like compounds in your system. You're going to have what they call a Herxheimer's response. You're not going to feel good. You're going to likely want to break the fast or stop the detox. But yeah, you can find all that stuff on
So
my.
they want it, right? Yeah, like I encourage you, check out his stuff. Check out what he says on a lot of these videos, and he gives the information out there. A lot of us do. It's shares. You just gotta. That's why I do this, so you guys can get this information. When someone was talking, they asked again about your boosting your immune system, and maybe you have to redefine that, because when you do a lot of this stuff, eating the right foods or doing certain things in your diet, it changes your immune system, and a lot of gut health is your immune system. Talk a little bit more about that and explain, give something that how they can, I guess you guys are wanting to know your immune system you think is low and how to boost that up. What's your.
So definitely you want to be very concerned with gut health. Your microbiome will determine how well your immune system is functioning. Remember, 70% of your lymphatic system, which is your immune system, is sitting in your stomach. So if that's 70%, we're depending on the other, and we don't eat well, we're depending on the other 30% to do the job for the entire body. That's just not feasible. There's a reason why there's so much lymph in your stomach because it's there to protect us. So making sure that we are eating all of the right foods, consuming foods that are fermented. This is huge because that's where we're getting our bacteria from. Living in and making physical contact with bacteria. I hate to say it, but we live in a world that wants, oh, we everything should be 99.9% bacteria free. And that is not the case. We actually want to make contact with bacteria. 90% of the bacteria is good for you. You want to touch trees. You want to put your hand in soil. There's a reason why they actually did a study that gardeners have better digestive systems than everyone else because they're putting their hands in soil and they're touching things and they're getting contact with bacteria. But we've been told and we believe that everything needs to be sterilized, and that's not the case. Sterilization is essentially leaving the soil blank for anything and everything else to grow there that you don't want. Okay, and that's generally what happens. So yes, somebody mentioned in there sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha. I'm actually making my own kombucha. I stopped buying kombucha out of the store a long time ago. But anything that you're going to find that's fermented, even if you just find some vegetables and you put them in some brine and you just let them sit for a while, that fermentation process is going to give you opportunities to come into contact with different bacteria. And of course, hugging trees, talking to plants, and not using too much of the sterilization things, except for when you have to, like for work and things like that. And so, if there were some suggestions for improving the immune system, I do have a video that on my website. I think I did a live, and I was talking about something called mucus tonic. That snaps. It hits like a ton of bricks, and you can use it as often as you want, and it has everything the body needs. And I've used that alongside like a bunch of other things, and everyone just keeps coming back for the mucus tonic. I spike mine with a few other compounds as well, but just keeping it basic. You can't go wrong with onions. You can't go wrong with grapefruit. Just try to make sure if you don't want to cheat anything, make sure that grapefruit at the very least is organic and it has seeds. Okay. Because we use grapefruit seed extract for a reason, because it shuts a lot of things down. And you want to make sure you're getting at least some of the compounds when you're juicing it. And then you're going to add in, sometimes if you choose to, you can add in a lemon. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The same compound is actually found in lemon seeds if you can find a really good lemon, but good luck. I know we live in the United States and organic is sometimes not orgasmically organic like they claim it to be. And then ginger. You can never go wrong with ginger. And the ginger is because of some of the compounds that's within it, like the piperines, it synergizes and makes other things stronger and more effective. Okay, so when you put ginger and onions and grapefruit together, you are making something that's powerful. Do not take that with your medication. You want to take that by itself on an empty stomach or just before a meal, and you're going to find significant improvement, especially if you're not feeling good. If you're not feeling good, take it 4 or 5 times a day, maybe even 6 times a day. If you're looking for general maintenance, this was one of my maintenance. I use that daily, 1 to 2 doses per day. And I even take it while I'm fasting. I only take a half a teaspoon, and immediately I can feel my mucus cavities open up, the chest cavity opens up, I start to get a little hot, the pores begin to open. It's basically running through your entire system, nuclear waving anything that's in its way. Okay, and that's one of the ways you can definitely improve your immune system, aside from making the other changes. And it can be hard trying to dodge the pizza, especially if that's all that's available. You're trying to dodge the burgers. You can't find a good farmer's market. They're making it really hard for us to maintain good health, because I think they just want us to keep working in this Western medical industrial complex of a system we have.
Jay's not telling you to go do this. He's just telling you what worked for him and what he's doing. He's not. Like, we're not giving any medical advice here.
Oh yeah, this is not medical advice. I don't diagnose, prognosticate, and or treat. I'm just telling you what I did. It's just my opinion, some stuff that I saw in a comic book, and I like it, so I do it. It works for me.
And it may work for you. It may need adjustments, but we can't. Neither of us, like, we're not doctors or whatever, but we're just giving stuff. But he can't. If any, like, when you guys ask questions, and you guys all know this, but I have to say this, um, he has to do, like he said earlier, it's a 30-page report. He has to know what he's everything about you. He has to ask certain questions to give you something. So what he just hear, he may not even use any of that. Maybe something totally different. But before he does anything like that, that's PMA, private membership, association. That's completely his deal, and how he does it. But um, then he can go more into detail. So we just give out information up here. These are things that, like he said, this is what he did. So just throwing that out there. Thanks everybody again for the questions and stuff. Where are you guys located? Looking to learn some plant gardening things. I myself are here in Oklahoma. I'm a moringa farmer out here in Oklahoma, and I do microgreens as well for my local community. Jay, I don't. Where
I'm,
where
I'm
can
in
they
New Jersey, People's Republic of New Jersey.
go to his site? I'll flash it up here again. You can actually go here too, but this is his. If you click on his link in his profile, it'll take you here, and then make sure you go there. Like I said, Jay, he pronounced it earlier, but this is how you get to know him. You just read that. It's got good stuff, and he puts it out there. He's got his phone number. You can actually call this guy. You can call him, and that's how you know he's legit. A lot of people will you know, send you here, send you that. But he's actually took enough time to, do this stuff. You're going to talk to a real person. You're going to talk to someone who, uh, like he's doing, giving his time here today. We appreciate that. Again, Jay, thank you so much for doing this. And the people here, they do appreciate it, and for you to do this. I
Thank
know
you.
you. I don't know days like Jay. I don't want to take a lot of your time. Um, like I said, this is all when I asked these people that we had a schedule, and sometimes the schedule works, sometimes it doesn't, but we try to come to an agreement where he can actually come here and do this. So I only ask for 20 minutes of your time. Anything else, that's on you. I know you have a life and stuff to do, and you're grumpy and angry because you're fasting thing. But no, he's doing great. You're doing great.
No,
I don't know if
I have to take the kid out though. We're gonna go and do a video. We're going to because I did a video recently on yarrow, and I had mentioned that there was a lookalike, and I couldn't find the lookalike in that area. So I'm looking for water. I couldn't find any water because I found open fields, but I couldn't find any water. So I'm looking for the poison hemlock, and I'm like, oh, there's no poison hemlock here. Normally, poison hemlock is everywhere. I mean, everywhere, and I couldn't find any. So I couldn't do a side-by-side comparison, so I was a little disappointed. So I found some poison hemlock at another location. So I'm going to take the young man out. We're going to go out, and we're going to go identify poison hemlock and get a little information on poison hemlock, and I might spit a quick video out on that as well. Because I definitely want people to know what that looks like. Probably talk a little bit about the history of poison hemlock and how toxic it really is, because it'll definitely make you punch your own toe tag. That's for sure. I mean, if you, especially if you consume the root, it only takes about that much of the root, and it's like, you're checking out, or you're gonna have really
that video, senior yarrow video, they said they loved how you explained it and talked about the herb. I guess you have a yarrow video that you made.
Yes, I did one maybe yesterday or the day before yesterday. I don't remember. They're all the days are mushed together. It was maybe a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I did one on yarrow, and I wanted to compare it to hemlock, but I couldn't find any hemlock. So now I'm gonna go find some hemlock so we can know the difference, and then everyone's sure when they see yarrow, they know that it's yarrow. Yarrow is easier in my opinion. That's probably why I did it, but there are some even closer lookalikes, such as like your cow parsnip, lady's lace. Those can sometimes be easily confused, especially if you find a very short or small poison hemlock. So, I'm gonna go find some, and then we're gonna do some comparison, and then we're gonna know the difference between the two. Yes, smell is so important.
There, that's
That's
must be what he's
yarrow.
talking about.
Yep.
Yep,
Or is that the
tons of
hemlock? That's yarrow or hemlock? Nope, that looks like
yarrow.
yarrow. That's yarrow. Yep, I
Yep.
can tell by the leaves are the big easiest way to tell. If they look like feathers, then it's likely yarrow. If it looks like parsley or like a carrot, then that might be poison hemlock.
Right. I got
That's
you.
right. Ladies
Fun.
Lace does not have the red dot in the center either. And then the stem of the poison hemlock is going to be striated, and it's going to have like purplish, reddish striation along that stem. Both of them have a hollow stem, um, but the other ones are going to be very solid green. And with the cow parsnip, it's going to have what they call trichome, so it's going to be real furry. It's going to look like fur, or little hairs, basically.
Yep. I got tons of that stuff here. I'm on 20 acres, man. This is a forager's paradise.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I got
I get lost on your property. I'd just be sitting there with a tent. You'd be like, "Where's Jay?" I don't know. He was tented over there. Now he's somewhere else.
this is actually one of the things I'm planning on doing, and is I want to open uh, parts of our thing and share it with people, and people can come here and they can, especially foragers or herbalists that want to come and pick and gather stuff and all they want and do stuff and learn. My whole job, like, and see, my moringa farm, which is, you know, uh, like I said, it's funny that you were talking, your backgrounds and stuff like that, totally different than what we're doing now, right, Jay? It's like, well,
Completely,
did you see yourself
completely.
doing this? I didn't. I
Yeah,
can tell you that right now.
I have my little gun, my badge, and I'm always stressed. And now
Right.
it's like, I'm just gonna go out and hug some trees. You're like, you want to carry a gun? No, not really. No, I just want to talk to the trees. I'll bring. You know what I carry all the time now? I carry my hori hori. I keep this around. But because it's a gardening tool. That's it.
Tell, tell, tell,
Yeah, it has
tell us about this.
it has
Everyone
a
wants to know
yeah. This is a gardening tool. It's called a hori hori. And it has a serrated edge on one side, sharpened edge on the other, but it's grooved. Okay, so it's good for digging up roots. And then you can see here where it has where there's measurement, so you can tell how deep you're going into the ground. So you can kind of, for certain roots go real deep and they have the branches of the roots, you may have to cut those branches to get the main root. So then this here will cut into the grass so that you can actually scoop it out. So it's kind of like a cutting tool while being a digging tool. So it makes it very easy to pull up roots, especially like dandelions and stuff. Those are like easy cake with this. I can even get a small burdock with it. I mean, a small burdock, because burdock, you need a shovel.
right.
But yeah, I carry this, and that's it because it's for gardening. Oh, and of course my flute. I carry that too.
Nice, nice. Like I said, and the last thing I just want to know, and a lot of people want to know, how did you meet Montel Williams?
Wow. Oh, so funny story. I've been working on growing my hair, and so far so good. I still got a little bit of a sunroof up there, but I've gotten some great results thus far. So I haven't talked to Montel in a while.
That's awesome, brother. That's but thank you again. I appreciate you. You have a lot of great knowledge, and man, I've heard you talk on other people's uh, platform before you came on mine, and people are interested. I mean, and that's the thing we want. We want, you know, to spark that interest. We're here as teachers, and I learn from our thing. And Jay, if you're always invited to come to one of my Wednesday roundtables. I know you're always in the thing, and I know you're busy, and I know you got, but man, you even do good in there because you answer a lot of questions and you talk in it. Man, it's a great atmosphere. But stuff
Yeah.
like this, your thing, and gathering your group, your family mixes with our family, mixes. We grow bigger, and this is my goal. And this is how I start. I had to come up with something that wasn't that everyone could agree on. can't agree upon politics. We can't agree upon gender, race, uh, religion, and money. So those things are five we can't agree on. We'll have our different interests, but we can agree on health, food, and water. I can talk to anyone about food. And they're like, oh yeah, and we'll talk to food forever. Water is a little different. There's some conversation about that, but our health,
Mm-hmm.
and this is our common bond, that I had to find a common bond that we can come together, build communities like we're doing, even if it's on here or in our local area. We're coming together and we have a common bond, and then we can address the other things. But this to ourselves is more important. I think River was talking about it, how she's been watching for decades. The change in started out what we're doing now, or a lot of people are getting into now, back when she was, and then she's seen the change. Now it's reverting back to the natural health and getting stuff because people are tired of. She says basically we can't trust what they're actually feeding us in these markets. They're totally changing. They condition us to say, hey, we'll provide your food in these markets and you can shop here, and then we got comfortable with it. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people stopped doing farming and gardening and herbs and stuff like that because it became the norm.
Yeah.
So these are the changes. Thank you for what you're
It's,
doing.
it's a must. And I hate to say it, but it's like things had to get really, really, really bad before we finally said, all right, enough is enough. And again, it's like dealing with a narcissist. You gotta eventually, when you get fed up, it's like, that's it, I'm done, I've had it, and you start cutting them off. So that's part of the cycle. But now all this beauty is gonna start to come out of it because lilies grow in mud, and we're all a bunch of lilies sitting in a bunch of mud. So I can't wait to
I
see how.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Tell people how to get to your herbs and your thing, and I explained it earlier, but go ahead. So if they wanted to see about your tinctures or your teas, how would they
Yeah,
do
just go
that?
to herbalchemistry.com. That's herbal chemistry spelled with a K instead of a CH. And you can reach us either leaving an email message. It does take 24 to 48 hours to, get back, because sometimes I might be in the forest and I got like a per diem assistant. So sometimes she gets to it, sometimes she doesn't. And if I'm in a forest for 2 days straight, I might be stealth camping because I'll hike 6 miles out just to go find something, and then I change my mind, like I'm not going back, and I will literally just pull out a hammock and find two trees and play my flute and go to sleep right then and there and find something to eat out in the forest. So sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get back, but we do get back.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you, brother. Go spend time with your family and your loved ones. Do your videos. Just keep doing what you're doing. Love to have you again on, and we'll talk. Keep building your community, and you're growing faster, brother. Keep spreading it. They try to shut us down, but we keep growing. We find other people, and I'll keep finding more people like you and building and building this community. That's what I do. So again, I appreciate you so much, my audience. Thank you for being in here and supporting myself and Jay. Uh, we love you guys, and we're doing this for you. We're not doing this for us. Or we could be doing other things, making more money, doing something else. But this is for you guys. Love you,
Yes,
Jay.
it's fun. It's
Appreciate
fun.
you, brother.
Love you too,
You,
brother.
you take care.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's see if Jay knows how to get in there. I can exit him out. Disconnect. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Um, he's a really great guy, and I could keep him on here forever. And I know like I said, he loves talking about it. He's so passionate about it, and we all are. Make sure you guys go check this out. Look at. So if you want to talk to him, ask him questions. A lot of the herbalists, they answer these questions all the time, and I know other people. Oh, I could tell you about that, but here, go to my and purchase my $250 Formula One and Formula Two. You know, does all kinds of stuff. Oh, you need my Formula One and Formula. Well, even myself, I don't I talk about it, especially, my moringa and stuff because I love it. I'm so passionate about it, and especially microgreens and stuff like that. So, but my whole job, is putting these lives together. I hope that answered a lot of your questions. Like I said, if you have any other questions, feel free to DM him, message him, answer, talk to him on one of his videos, DM me or ask me. I will definitely find the answer or point you in the right direction. That's what I do. River here is very knowledgeable. A lot of people that come in here, Sarah, everyone that I've seen you guys talk back and forth in the chat, guys are very knowledgeable, and we all learn from somewhere. But this is what we need. I'm always learning something. I know a lot uh, about certain things, especially moringa, but I always learn. So, um, and there's a lot of stuff out there. I hope this helps, and I hope you guys are really benefiting from it. I do appreciate the likes and the gifts. Uh, it goes back into my other herbalist that I family that we're into, and we just put it back into each other. I don't use it to, you know, buy anything or anything like that. We just share it amongst the community. Helps them out, helps support them. I know some of them actually save, and I think what's her name? Some of them save and they give back to the community. They buy something for the community. Time to Heal. If you guys aren't following her, she's always doing a giveaway. Just be subscribed to her thing, and she's giving away a nice package, just different stuff. But one of her things that I'm really interested in is that emergency kit, and it comes with all kinds of stuff. If you don't have an emergency kit, and if she hasn't sold them out already, go check her out as well. Thank you all again. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for the new followers. You guys, go check out my moringa series. Go check out some of my series is on here on my platform, and you can also see this video on my YouTube channel. So after this, I do all the editing and I download it to my YouTube. You can also follow me on Facebook group From Them Farms, and Instagram From Them Farms, and YouTube on From Them Farms. So if you guys missed this beginning of this video, maybe you didn't hear something that was answered and you didn't catch it, or wanted to hear what we said, you can see it later on YouTube From Them Farms. Thank you again. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for coming to my live, and go enjoy the rest of your day. Spend time with family and friends. So, some of you that want to stick around, I'll probably be on a little bit later, and we'll talk about certain things, and definitely a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing and stuff like that. So there's no sunshine where you're at. Make your own. From Them Farms to your home.